He's been the voice of the Northeast Kingdom for over 60 years, and local radio legend Don Mullally doesn't plan on stopping the music anytime soon. This week, we connect with a man known to many as Mr. St. Johnsbury. Don Mullally, thank you so much for welcoming us into your world.
Yeah, well, it's very small, but it's a comfortable place to be.
It certainly is. It's nice and warm in here today. We need it on a cold day like it is, but you've been doing this for nearly 70 years.
Yeah.
You've seen significant changes in the business, yet you haven't conformed. You're still spinning the vinyl as you do each and every morning. Why haven't you taken to the flashy new technology?
It's better than work.
It's better than work.
So I don't have to go to work. I just come in and play music and let it go with that.
You go into autopilot, you just come in, you gather your records, you pick out what you're going to play before your show starts. Aside from the technology, how has the radio business changed as a whole?
Pretty big, pretty big. Staff no longer is in numbers. They're small. So, like for STJ, there's only me in the morning, and then there's a man that comes in at noon, and that's it. The rest of it's all off the bird, the satellite.
So WSCJ is a prime example of how the business has changed. You go into automated mode as soon as your show ends. You're on from 6 to 9 a.m.
Yes.
And then you flip a switch, and then that is a national feed. Why is that? Why has there been...
Economics, I guess. Economics, pretty much. Cheaper to do it that way than it is to run 24 hours a day like we do with a staff of 6 or 7, 13 people.
Certainly. And in terms of your radio show, you go on at 6 a.m. each Monday through Friday. You're in the booth until 9 a.m., but your day starts way before that, 2:30. So take us through a day in Don Mullally's
2:30, I
life.
stop at the foot of the hill, Concord Avenue, get a cup of coffee and a donut, come up the hill, come in at 3 or 3:15, and get things lined up. There's not much to do, really, except to print out some things from Associated Press. And the music just comes as it comes.
Whatever you're
Whatever it
drawn
feels
to,
like.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's the beauty of music.
Sometimes I get them up hard. Other times they wake up with drowsy. It all depends on the weather, I guess.
Depends on the weather, depends on your mood, and you are the master behind the music. And you talked a little bit about how music has always been such a major part of your life. You're
Always.
A singer as well. You were a singer. Take us back to then, when you were singing with the big band.
The big band, the 17-piece big band. I was with them 27, 28 years. And then the stroke came along, and that sort of put the kibosh on that.
Let's talk a little bit about your stroke. That happened in 2001. You had a series of small strokes.
And then that one.
And then the big one.
Yeah.
Culminated with the big one. Must have been a very emotional time for you, because that year you were also inducted into the Vermont Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, and here you are trying to recover from a series of strokes. Did you think...
I was extremely fortunate, Ryan. Extremely fortunate. The only thing, really, it didn't affect the left side of the face, which maybe is good or bad. I'm not sure which. Maybe Halloween will come along and it'll be okay. But the leg is the only thing. I walk with a limp, should use a cane, but I don't as much as I should. But other than that, I lucked out.
It didn't compromise that
It
deep
didn't seem
baritone
to.
voice,
No.
which, what a gift. That is your moneymaker right there. So aside from being part of the big band, you've done this, again, we said nearly 70 years you've been doing this. Do you think that people today are still able to make a living in the radio industry?
Difficult. It's very difficult. Television and radio, AM radio is is hurting, has hurt for years because of FM.
So yeah, so we're statewide with television. We're lucky to be able to attract audiences in New Hampshire. We reach into Quebec, obviously all of Vermont, northern Massachusetts as well. So we do, with a TV station, have
You
a greater
reach across
stretch.
the lake?
We do. We
Good.
reach into New York as well, absolutely. And as you said, you are limited with your reach with an AM station.
Yeah.
But talk about another change with the technology. Folks can stream you online, WSCJ.
And Facebook.
1340 AM, absolutely. They can connect with you on Facebook as well. Let's go back to the beginning. When did the broadcasting bug bite you? How did you break into the business? You got to think for a moment, right?
Well, the Navy put me into a radio shack on a destroyer. It didn't last long because I wasn't in long enough, a year and a half, really.
Okay.
Came back, went to Mass Radio and Television in Boston for the technical end of it, and I didn't like it at all. I
Oh, no.
came out with a license, came to see Dean Finney, the original builder and owner of WTWN at the time. Told him I had a license. He said, good, but that was a little white lie.
Really?
All it allowed me to do, I couldn't touch any equipment. I could take a reading
Isn't that
of
something?
the dials, but that was it.
So you would basically come in, you told this little white lie, that's what got you in the door. Maybe not recommended in today's economy, lying to your
No,
future
it
employer,
would be.
right? But that got you in the door, and you proved yourself, and you showed your passion. I think that is part of your legacy. I don't want to speak for you, but I think your passion is clear for anyone who has had the opportunity to listen to you, or hopefully will listen to you after seeing this show. Passion is such a major part of who you are. And I think pursuing your passion has led to personal and professional success. How important is it to have satisfaction within the workplace?
Oh, Gordon, marvelous, yeah. There's some improvements that I can still work on, I'm sure. I'm not going to say what they are, but there must be some.
You have to keep your secrets, right?
Yeah, a couple anyway.
Certainly.
I have some regrets in this business. I've known most of the governors and have interviewed them, for all the way back to Phil Hoff, or before Phil. I'm not sure whether Dean Davis was before or after,
Sure.
but it didn't make any difference. Phil Hoff, I had a great relationship with. In fact, I even helped him when he campaigned. And I'm an independent, not a Democrat or a Republican.
So how did you help him with that
I
campaign?
took him around like to the old Fairbanks plant on Western Ave. And
So you showed him this side of the state,
St.
and you really
Johnsbury.
introduced him to
Yeah,
your
to St.
core
John.
community.
Yeah. And I was in awe always of Dean Davis. Well, of course, he was an older man, and I respected him tremendously.
Certainly.
The only regret is I haven't bumped into Shumlin yet, Governor Shumlin.
Interesting.
He's been here now and then in St. Johnsbury. Doesn't spend as much time as people would like him to in the Northeast,
He's a
but none
busy
of
man.
them do.
Yeah.
Anyway, he hasn't ever been in touch, or his office, to set up an interview, and that's something could have happened. But
Well, hey, there's
It
still
may
time.
yet.
Absolutely.
He
And
doesn't
maybe
go
if
out
he's
until
watching
next
now, we
year.
can get him in and have a quick sit down before he leaves his seat. So maybe we can make that happen for you.
And perhaps one of the biggest excitements of my life, when President Eisenhower took the microphone, WIKE, and held it in his hands at Franconian Notch. The Secret Service went wild.
Oh my goodness,
They
I can
hovered
imagine.
around him like a queen bee with honeybees in a hive. Oh, they thought it wasn't supposed to be. But he saw the WIKE nameplate on
And
the
that
microphone. and-
Drew him closer, huh?
Yeah, he took the microphone and held it.
That is something. So you've certainly been exposed to politicians, entertainers. You've interviewed so many. Interviews are still a staple on your show.
Yes, yeah.
If you could interview anyone, I know you mentioned you haven't had the chance to speak with Governor Shumlin. Aside from Governor Shumlin, who would there be?
Oh, Lord. I'd like to talk with Pedroia of the Red Sox. I'm a fan, or Tom Brady of the Patriots.
You are a loyal New Englander.
They're sports people. Nothing, they aren't that important, but they are in their particular field.
Certainly.
Yeah.
You are a big sports buff, and WSTJ 1340 AM, you carry a bunch of games. You carry all the Patriots.
Yep.
You carry Red Sox as well.
Yep.
You also, when we talk about that automated format, you carry America's Best Music. So that is standards, everyone from Nat King Cole all the way up through Norah Jones.
Oh, I can go back even back to Joe Lewis time. I mean, Jerry Lewis time.
Certainly, and that's heard on your show.
Yes.
So how does your show differ from other morning broadcasts?
It's all memories. Brings back, no matter whether it's today or last week's hit, which don't last long anymore, not like the ones that I normally play. Vinyl disc was Sinatra and Bennett.
Certainly.
And those guys, except Bennett, of course.
Certainly. Hey,
90 years old.
he's
coming
still
up
at
and
it.
Still at it.
He rivals you in terms of tenure, I guess, huh?
But that would be, that's what has happened in the music. It brings back memories, no matter the decade. There are 60 of them here. So
Certainly.
that brings back a memory. Somebody will bump into it.
I think so. Generations, you know, I will have your show on in the background from time to time listening, and my aunt says, oh, I used to love that song, or there is. You really have a gift of bridging generations together. While you're in the studio, you have a phone right there next to you. What sort of calls do you receive in the
We
morning?
used to get calls all the time because we could put them on the air. We got a new system, and that's what the change is. You had to get that because it went to the other station. They changed the number. So now that doesn't go on the air as well as it should.
You don't flip a switch
So
and
we,
you can't have that conversation back and forth with the caller.
No, but not only that, but when people are being interviewed or here, and we take calls, which we used to do all the time, they could answer and respond and talk with whoever was interested in that interview.
Isn't that something?
Yeah,
So you
so
could really
that has
have
gone
that.
by the board. That
Yeah.
I regret.
I bet you missed that because you
Yeah.
do have such a connection to the community, and we snuck in a little bit earlier today to capture you working your magic, and we have some video of you reading your reports, and I think we're going to pause right now to take a look at Don Mullally's magic.
For WSTJ, AM 1340 St Johnsbury, the Maple Center of the world, I'm Don Mullally. La, da, da, It's 12 minutes before 9. We're at 45 degrees, going into the mid-50s perhaps, maybe even better like yesterday. There'll be partly sunny skies, and then we'll get some shower activity. Don't do that.
About it. It's a matter of your health. I'm Jack Kahn, and I do wish you well.
I'm Don Mullally. I wish you well as well. You'll see us here on the radio tomorrow morning at 6.
So there you were, Don. We saw you in your prime playing records, but on the other side of the desk you have a computer. Talk about a blend of technology.
Yep.
And we heard that small glitch.
Oh, that was on a CD with Edie Gourmet and Steve Lawrence and Sinatra, one of his duet CDs. And it got a hiccup in the middle of it somewhere, or right at the beginning almost.
But after nearly 70 years of doing this, you know how to recover
Oh,
from
I would
that.
have
You just
sweat tears, I'm sure, a few years ago when something like that happened.
handled yourself
well,
like a
it did,
professional.
of course.
Oh,
Vinyls
sure.
always skip with dirt in the groove.
I'm sure. So apart from being this broadcast legend, you are very active in St. Johnsbury and the surrounding communities as well. You just played a major part in a annual fair, which is the
The Caledonia
Absolutely.
County Fair. Yeah, I've been there since the 50s.
So what is your role in all of that?
The voice of.
You are. So you're
doing
sort of
the cavalcade and other things. Yeah,
the MC. You sort of draw in the
I
crowds.
did at
and
one point, yeah, but that's pretty much backed off now. We don't have as many stage acts as we used to. We're not big like Champlain Valley, of course.
But it's still an annual tradition that people truly cherish.
So now I drive a golf cart as a courtesy cart for people.
Excellent.
Take them around the fairgrounds wherever they want to go.
They must get a kick out of that. Here you are riding around in a golf cart and you say hello. They must recognize that voice right off the
Some
bat,
do,
huh?
yeah.
Isn't
They
that
wonder what
something?
my job is. I just say I'm just a director volunteering.
Wonderful. So you certainly do wear many hats, and you've done that throughout your career.
Yeah.
You've continued to play a part in the Caledonia State Fair. You've held down your job here at the station. You were Mr. St. Johnsbury then, you're Mr. St. Johnsbury now. That's a title that had to really give you some sort of pride when that name came to be. Was that just a nickname that someone threw at you one day?
The voice of the North Country, I think, is what they said. But, that was very humbling,
I
to
bet.
say the least.
I bet.
One other thing, we were talking sports a
Sure.
few minutes ago, and when Doug drowned, he was a colleague who died not too long ago. He and I were the only ones in the state, as far as we know, that followed the academy or LI, no matter where they went,
Interesting.
in football or basketball.
Isn't that something?
If they went south to Middlebury, Virgins, or Rutland, we were there. And it was the kids like from the Seahorses out of Burlington, or the Rebels out of, or the Big Green out of Rice.
Sure.
They were amazed to find us there. What are you guys doing here? And, well, we're here to broadcast the game. They said, nobody does that over here in Burlington.
It's sad.
The colleges take over the college games, and
Right.
they forget about the kids on the high school level.
And you've remained loyal to those on the high school
Try
level.
to,
You just had
yeah.
the big Academy versus Institute
Oh,
game,
yeah.
and people still
Yeah,
really
Tony,
rally
our
around
staff
that.
member Tony Whitehill called that game. Yeah, but I was there.
But there's something to be said about that. People cherish that tradition, and there aren't many venues where people can tune in and hear that local level of passion. And you continue to do it. You, as Don Mullally, WSTJ as a whole, you've remained loyal to your community. But in the community, there have been so many changes here in St. Johnsbury.
Oh, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that. How has the community changed?
Well,
since-
let's start with the station. We were
Sure.
daylight, sunrise to sunset when they went on the air in '49, WTWN. Now we're 24 hours, so that's one change. Downtown, the east side of Railroad Street is completely changed. The bank, Citizens Bank, was on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Railroad. That is now something else. What was the hobby shops? 3 stores located one next to the other.
took up most of Main Street.
That was the clothing department of St. Johnsbury, downtown. Now there's only the mall and J.C. Penney. There's no major, well, Kaplan's, of course. Kaplan's have been there since
certainly.
year one on Railroad Street. But that's all changed downtown.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And there has been a major push. The Chamber of Commerce, Catamount Arts, really working to revitalize St. Johnsbury and put that positive performance aspect back into the town. Are you excited to see what they're doing?
Oh yes, absolutely. I applaud Jay Cravens tremendously. When he started, it was difficult for Jay to get any musical talent, for instance, good, excellent talent into St. Johnsbury. It took him a long time to get his feet wet, but he did, and now he's swimming in it.
He is. He's landed some legends as well. Mavis Staples, she's headed over this way.
Yep.
Joan Osborne, we just heard the ad this morning as we were prepping for the show.
Well, one of the side judges in Vermont from Burlington, I know her name, but so I'm not going to say it. She said, St. Johnsbury, what's over there? And I said, well, other than being the cultural center of the Northeast Kingdom, there's not much. But if you want to get some real culture, come to St. Johnsbury.
Certainly.
That set her back on her heels a little. She didn't think much of the Northeast Kingdom.
Isn't that something? And we were talking about that a little bit on our ride over as well. There isn't much economy to sustain. But
yeah, well, Fairbanks is, of course, got wiped out. Well, they went east on Route 2, but most of the scale making and other administrative parts are in, what, Kansas City or somewhere.
Certainly.
Yeah.
But when you want to find natural beauty, head to the Northeast Kingdom, that's for sure. You're also a family man. You have a family of your own. Did any of your children follow in your footsteps? And
My daughter
she did.
worked with me here for a while until the economics kicked in.
Of course.
Again, the economics sort of set her aside. But no, that was for over a year she was here. Yeah.
Now, were you two in tandem? Did you work
Yes,
together?
no, she was on the other side of the board and go
Well,
back and forth.
That must have been a blast.
Yeah,
huh?
it was. It was. Or we'd do interviews at the Surf and Sirloin, now not the Surf and Sirloin, on Portland Street.
Certainly.
We'd do that. Had Governor Douglas there once, and I said, you went to Middlebury, that's a language school. What language did you take up, if any? And he said, oh, Russian. And I said, say something in Russian. He said, your mother wears combat boots in Russian.
I bet that's a common statement over
But
there.
that's the way he was. He was one of those open sort of governors.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we're almost out of time, Don, but retirement is something that people look forward to. Many, rightfully so, they count down the days and have a life planned outside of their working professions. Has retirement ever been in your vocabulary, and do you ever plan on retiring?
No, I hope Bruce just doesn't listen all the time, but no. As long as the rubber band works, I'll try to keep it stretched out or elasticized.
I'm so happy to hear that. And again, it speaks to your passion. You are a remarkable role model. So many people can tune in, those who grew up listening to you, those who maybe are just seeing you for the first time today. Go ahead, check out Don Mullally. The website is 1340 WSTJ. They can go ahead, find you on the internet as well. You said you're on Facebook too. You've certainly left a legacy, but what do you want people to remember? If one day that band does break and you say, I'm done, they're not going to bring me a new record player, what do you want people to remember most about your time?
That at least I was trying to be truthful about whatever was read, news report. I don't try to embellish anything. I guess my mentor was Walter Cronkite or Bob Trout for CBS years ago. They called Walter, of course, Mr. America, or whatever his name was, or whatever his moniker was. But,
certainly.
yeah. No, just that I entertained and was truthful about what I was doing.
And I think that's true to this day.
I hope so.
I certainly do as well. And we thank you so very much for taking the time to visit with us today. Once again, letting us into your studio. This was a true treat for us to hit the road and come out and visit with you. So we thank you so much,
Well,
Don.
Ryan, I appreciate it. I feel very humble about your call from Colchester, and I hope that things work out. And to the crew that you brought with you this morning.
They're remarkable.
Yes, they are.
They truly
Great
are.
guys to work with.
They truly
Jeez.
are. So thank you once
Thank
again,
you,
Don.
Ryan.
Thank you, and thanks to you at home as well. We want to keep the conversation going, and we want to connect with you. So please head on over to our website, vermontpbs.org, or email us at connect@vermontpbs.org. We'll see you soon.
And I do wish you well.
I'm Don Mullally. I wish you well as well. You'll see us here on the radio tomorrow morning at 6. Till then, Don M., have a great day. Tony Whitehill has an hour filled with information, something we should know during the noontime report. We're at 45 degrees, skies will clear to be partly sunny, and temperatures reaching the mid-50s. There may be a shower or two by afternoon. Have a great day.